The following is a presentation of the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.
You are listening to Audio Suplex Live.
That was really weird.
Which part?
The part of you talking. I don't know if it picked up on the audio, but Corey was talking over himself talking during the intro music, so nobody else will hear it and experience what I just experienced with it. But it was fantastic.
What did I?
It was
do?
like it was you in like echo. It was like you in stereo.
Because I was able to sound like myself.
Yeah. I was gonna try to show you the sound of this. So I got this like little fancy water bottle the other day at Target. Yeah, well, I was gonna show you the sound of it.
Show me the sound. I would love to see the sound of it. Wow.
Dude, that is such a good sound.
I didn't really see it, but...
I don't think anybody tuned in this week to hear me play with my water bottle for an hour, though, so...
Wow.
How you feeling today, man?
I am feeling tired.
Yeah.
Worked a lot this week.
Yeah, you had a crazy hell week. I mean, we had Monday Night Raw on Monday.
Yeah.
But then you basically worked the whole rest of the week. You and I had like opposite weeks this week.
Like open to close Tuesday, open to close Wednesday.
Yeah.
Close Thursday. I worked middle of the day Friday.
Getting that money, man. You gotta
and
stack
I'm working
up.
Today. After I leave here, I'm going to work.
You have a child on the way. So.
Yeah, I might not be here next week. Who knows? Possibly.
Yeah, true.
If the baby were to come, I may not be on the show next week. So.
Yeah, as a heads up, we are getting down to the nitty gritty here with Reister Watch 2017. So yes. We are anxiously awaiting the birth.
Less than 2 weeks is the due date. So
of Corey's first child. So we'll be on standby here at Audio Suplex Live, just kind of waiting for the signal, and then you guys might have to do with a week of just me talking to you about the pro graps. So.
The pro graps.
Yeah, the professional grappling.
Never heard that term.
It's a new thing. They say it in England.
No, they don't.
Yeah, okay. So this week we are here to do one thing and one thing only. We are going to be taking a look at the card for this year's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Hold on. We didn't introduce our special guest. Oh, shoot. Never mind.
A slightly disheveled studio.
John Cena is with us here in the studio, everybody.
Now, Mr. Cena, we know you're not on the card tonight for Hell in a Cell due to your free agency period that you're going through between Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live. Could you elaborate on us a little bit about how much, if you would like to be on the Hell in a Cell card, and who you would like to face?
Oh, damn it. Oh, wow, that worked out pretty good. I didn't have anything planned there.
Recurring guest, John Cena.
John Cena's here.
Right. So
good to see you.
Except not.
All right. Do we have any news we have to talk about?
No.
I don't think we didn't mention anything.
There was a couple big things I did want to talk about. Nothing really news-wise, so to speak, but they did announce this week formally that the next NXT TakeOver ahead of...
Is it going to be a dumpster fire?
Survivor Series is going to be fantastic because they are officially bringing back the War Games match. Now, Corey, I know you're anti-WCW. You really don't care for... But you owe it to yourself to go back. Maybe one of these episodes where you're missing.
We've watched a War Games match together.
Yeah, I know.
So I've seen one.
They're fantastic.
They are not.
If that wasn't necessarily the best one.
You can only win by submission or knockout.
If booked properly, they have the chance to be absolutely fantastic from a storytelling angle.
Whoa.
If you mean to tell me that you don't see there being at least...
I want to see it.
A good chunk of the match where Roddy Strong is getting the absolute bejesus beat out of him before one of the members of AOP comes in to save him. It's going to be an assault on Roddy Strong. It's going to be... That kid is going to sell his butt off.
Roddy Strong is going to switch sides to the... What is it? The Ultimate Era? What is
the Undisputed Era? I don't know if that's actually going to happen, man. They're building him up too big to be a member of a group.
What if he's the leader?
Not with Adam Cole in the group.
Adam Cole is so tiny.
Yeah, but he's
like a little tiny baby.
That's what
baby.
People. You know what Adam Cole reminds me of? Chris Jericho circa 1999 when he came over from WCW to WWE. Everybody said the same. Well, yeah, but it's a different era now. So like, but everybody said the same.
Undisputed Era.
Yeah, everybody said the same thing about Jericho when he came over. Like, he'll never be in the main event. He's undersized, but he's got that natural just charisma and ability to jump off the screen at you that I think is going to help him out.
I don't know that much about Adam Cole,
Yeah.
so I haven't seen him too much.
Right.
What do you think, John? Oh. No comment.
I, for one, am really excited. What we'll probably do, and this isn't like a formal announcement, but this is a game plan. If you guys remember a couple episodes back, James from our sister show, Chick Flick Picks, came on, and this is in advance of the Mae Young Classic and the G1 Special finals. We had an episode where we talked about that. James actually messaged me this morning talking about doing an episode dedicated to war games in anticipation. So maybe one of these weeks when baby Corey is here.
Baby Corey?
Well,
what does that mean?
Your child when you're
We're not naming it Corey, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, when she gets here, you can take that week off, and we'll have James back on the show, and he and I will just talk about war games for a couple hours and kind of see where that goes. So that way you can avoid the WCW conversation entirely.
Perfect.
I know. I knew you'd be on board. Speaking of WCW and your distaste of WCW, before we went on air, you and I had a conversation about what the punishment going forward for this episode and for our picks would be.
Yeah, because there's only two of us doing picks, so
right.
The punishment is easily dealt out to one person.
Right.
Or whatever, or I guess a reward
right.
in this case.
So in this case, instead of doing a punishment like you guys have probably seen before when we had our good friend Anthony do Ajax, BT Jackson did his rendition of the Scott Steiner math promo, we're not going to really do a punishment per se, depending on what the winner does with the power that they get. The winner of our picks this time around for Hell in a Cell will get the opportunity to pick either a retro pay-per-view or a retro wrestling movie for Corey and I to watch and review and then do an entire episode on. So
if you have any recommendations, we'll take those into account. I'm going to do a movie.
I won't. I'm just going to pick
I won last month.
Yeah.
So we are watching next week, hopefully, if I can do the show, See No Evil starring Kane. We will review this.
I've never actually watched it.
I have watched it.
Is it good?
It's good. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
We watched, what did we watch last night? We watched Get Out.
That's a good movie.
I need to watch it again, like, because I was only like kind of like half paying attention. I wasn't like in the mindset to like sit there and actually like sit there and take it in, because I'm sure it's a heavy movie. But
I think we saw it like opening weekend.
Yeah.
That's one of the. We don't go to the movies that much, but
you know what you can't get out of though?
What?
Hell
in a Cell.
In a Cell.
Awesome. Let's get into it.
All right, so we got 7 matches on the Hell in a Cell card this year. It is a Smackdown exclusive pay-per-view, and it is
last year it was Raw.
Yes, they switched because last year TLC was a Smackdown pay-per-view, and now it's a Raw pay-per-view. So
I like the idea of doing that.
If you're gonna have these gimmick pay-per-views, I guess switch them so it keeps it fresh. Yeah. But I don't know, dude. I really don't like the fact that Hell in a Cell has its own pay-per-view.
I agree. It makes the match, especially the more they do it, the less special those matches become.
It makes the match less special, but it also ties your hands from a storytelling perspective to where, like, say you're a SmackDown writer and you're writing storylines for the next 2 pay-per-views or whatever. You're trying to like advance to a storyline.
Right.
You now have this match type on a pay-per-view coming up that you have to work into your storyline somewhere. And I can see that being incredibly frustrating from a writer's perspective. Like, so not only do I have to write out this feud between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon, but now I have to somehow, because we have a pay-per-view to sell, incorporate this match type. Which may
How do
not,
I make a Hell in a Cell appropriate stipulation to the match?
Right. Whereas like sometimes in a match type like Hell in a Cell, I don't think lends itself to being an entire pay-per-view for that reason. Because the Hell in a Cell should be a defining story element.
Yeah.
Like that should pop
see
in
one once in a while. Like, you know what? Yeah, I picked the match type. Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
And then oh my God, I haven't seen one of those in a year. I don't know.
It loses its specialness. Like it loses. Now, sometimes like in this case, like I think both the matches that are in the cell are both really good matches and are going to have to...
I think... And no, I mean, obviously the match is not going to be that great. Nakamura, Jinder, because he's got the Singh brothers. And Hell in a Cell would keep the Singh brothers out.
It would make too much sense.
Theoretically, they can't fit through the bars like they could in the Punjabi prison. Right. So, and they can't, if it's locked up, they can't sneak their way in unless they're under the ring.
See, and that's another thing right there. How are you going to have an entire pay-per-view dedicated to one match type when less than half the matches on the card are in that match type, and your premier title, your number one top title in the company, is not in that match type.
Neither is the U.S. title.
That's insane. At least one of those two should be in Hell in a Cell.
And get the tag belts, first time ever.
Yeah, not the first tag Hell in a Cell match though. I think there's like been 2 previously.
Oh,
I can't remember.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
All right, so let's talk about the pre-show real quick. We have the new Team Angle, I guess, if that's what you want to call them. We got Chad Gable,
Team America,
Team America World Police.
Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin
will be taking on the Hype Bros.
Pre-show doesn't really matter.
No, is this even canon at this point?
I don't think so.
Is anybody going to remember this? This is like one of those interesting little footnotes. Like something interesting could happen in this match, but it won't.
Any chance you think the Hype Bros are winning this?
Nobody.
I say no.
No.
I know they're talking about the split, so
there's no chance that they win it. But like, what's the point even?
Well, we need to pick, to figure out who wins is the point. So
I don't know, man.
I'm picking Gable and Benjamin.
Yeah,
and I do think we do see the split.
Do you want to keep track of these picks or anything? Because
well, if we're picking the same thing, I'm not going to write that down.
Okay. Well, I'm taking Team Angle as well.
Me too. So we will just say,
for lack of a better choice, like there really isn't a whole lot they're doing with either of these teams right now, and it's just kind of, this is SmackDown in a nutshell for me. The bright spots of the show are really, 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 really bright. Like the Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens feud, and we'll get to this a little bit later. I would even say the Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler feud's pretty decent. It's watchable. At least they're both really entertaining to watch. New Day versus Usos, you can't heap enough praise on that feud right now. Even AJ versus Baron, like it's not really like,
it's okay.
But the bad parts of SmackDown, like the parts that they're really dropping the ball on, are really bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're both going with Team America.
So, do you think that we're going to see the official split of the Hype Bros?
I think so.
Pre-show.
Well, maybe like everyone's saying Zach's going to be the heel, Mojo's the face. That makes sense. WWE likes to do the opposite of what you think's going to happen.
Yeah.
Have Mojo go heel, maybe. I don't know.
Heel Mojo?
Heel Mojo. I don't know. What I think we're going to have is, the one's going to be frustrated that the other one did something stupid in the match, and they're going to kind of shove each other and kind of, you'll see them actually split, and the face will try to befriend him again, and then it'll lead to a match eventually. You won't see like a complete turn. You'll just see like maybe one of them abandons. Maybe Zach's like, screw this, I'm out, and he walks.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually attack Mojo per se.
Just kind of walks out on them.
That's what I would think, more likely.
Yeah.
That's just my guess.
But I don't know.
Before we talk about any of the matches, can we talk about the Fashion Files?
Yeah.
It was canceled. We were supposed to have the resolution on SmackDown.
I don't think it was canceled. It was
pushed back, I should say. The episode that was supposed to air on SmackDown this week did not air. They hyped it up. Tyler Breeze tweeted about it that day, like, hey, check out the episode tonight. And it got pushed to the pay-per-view.
Because it's going to get you to watch the pay-per-view now.
Sure. I was going to watch anyways. I have the network for at least this pay-per-view. I think. I didn't double-check this morning if I still have it.
Oh, no.
If not, you're ordering it and you're giving me the freaking... Never mind.
Basically, long story short, is I've been mooching Corey's WWE network for the better part of, like, what?
Like almost 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years
launched,
almost.
So.
Yeah. And he's now canceling it at the onset of fatherhood.
Yeah, I got an extra $10.
Yeah, so
$9.99 a month in my wallet.
This is true. This is true.
So, do you think that it will actually air tonight? I think yes.
Yeah.
Who do you think the assailants are going to be?
Well, initially, a lot of speculation was that it was going to be the Authors of Pain, which has been the worst resolution of that of all time because it's not even in their character. Like, they go from being an unstoppable badass force in NXT to a bunch of pranksters who are, trying to get one over on Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Like, doesn't really fit their characters.
Plus, they're booked for the War Games match.
Yeah, exactly. Now, especially because they're still booked to be in the tag scene in NXT. Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe a possible
Harper and Rowan, I think, are the only real
like a repackage of Harper and Rowan, or even just Harper.
Repackage them in what way, though? It's the only thing. Like, I don't know what you could do to change. You don't want to do a drastic repackage, then everyone's gonna be like, okay, well, these. It can't be too crazy different.
Yeah, the only big thing with Harper and Rowan is that you really kind of screwed the pooch, putting them in a group as character strong as the Wyatts were, because those two are now forever going to be Wyatt family members.
Right.
Like, it's going to take years. Like, Luke Harper's going to have to shave his head, shave his beard, and change his entire look to even hope of washing off the Wyatt family thing, the stigma. You know what I mean?
I don't see him doing any of that.
And I don't see it happening. So
I think he can get away from it. He started to a little bit.
Yeah.
They just need to allow him to do that. You have to build up the story. You can't just do it. Like, oh, he's a different guy now. You can't do that. You gotta let him evolve.
Strowman was lucky enough that he really didn't get too entrenched in the whole Wyatt family storyline. So that
he still looked like a Wyatt family. Like, when I see Braun Strowman, I don't think Bray Wyatt anymore.
He was with Bray Wyatt for less than a year, I feel like. So, like, that wasn't really enough time to where you look at Braun Strowman now, you're like, yeah, that guy used to be a Wyatt family member. Like, you look at Luke Harper now, and it's, like, clear as day. Yeah, he was in the Wyatt family. Like, he was, like, because he was with Bray for as long as he was. You look at Braun, and you're like, oh, he's just a big dude who likes to throw people through tables.
I guess so.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like.
I think if they booked Harper better, that you would feel the same way.
I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. I love Luke Harper. He's fantastic.
I don't see him shaving his head.
No.
He's got a nice big bald spot back here, and I think his long hair covers that up. So he likes that.
Interesting look.
Okay, so I think it's going to be Eric Rowan and Luke Harper.
You think so?
That would be great. I would love to see them back on TV.
That'd be great.
I can't think of anybody else it would be.
As long as they find something to do with them, I guess. Get them on TV.
Yeah. Match number 2. First one of the main card. Let's talk about Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler.
I like how they have transferred Bobby Roode from being NXT's
number one heel,
top heel, to a flat out baby face on SmackDown Raw. Like, there wasn't even like a weird transition there. It literally went from like, I'm the asshole in NXT who cheats to win and has the belt and has the crazy entrance, to now I'm on SmackDown and everybody loves me and my entrance is really cool.
Yeah.
That new font and that new typeface, the way they do his Titantron now, I like it a lot better than the NXT version.
Yeah.
Which is saying a lot, because I usually don't like when they redesigned Shinsuke Nakamura's.
I know, you hated that.
I didn't shut up about it. So
you're still talking about it.
Yeah, here I am. You know, how long has it been now? And I'm still pissed about it.
A long time.
Yeah.
Or a year?
I don't think it's been quite a year. But, yeah, so Bobby Roode, I think he's fantastic. It's going to be interesting to see where his ceiling is on SmackDown.
I think he's going to win the title eventually.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, it'll take him a while. I think we got over a year until we see a Bobby Roode.
This might be a bit of a controversial thought.
Okay.
I think the ceiling for Bobby Roode on SmackDown, unless I could be wrong, might be as high as the U.S. title.
Oh, okay.
I think he's got the capacity to go beyond to that next point and be the face.
Look at the NXT champions. I mean, all of them except for Bo Dallas, I mean, are top contenders.
But I could see Bobby Roode in the world title picture.
You think Sami Zayn will ever win the world title?
I think it's probably more likely that Sami Zayn wins a world title
than Bobby Roode
before Bobby Roode does.
I don't think so.
And that's not even to say that I love Bobby Roode.
What storyline would you see Sami Zayn win the belt? Who would he beat?
Sami Zayn has been built as the ultimate underdog for how long now?
Kevin Owens?
He'll be Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens will be the only person to be able to beat and have it be a good story.
And it'd be fantastic. It'll probably be one of the best stories ever told.
Do you think Owens is going to win the belt anytime soon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're going to get into a period here where the SmackDown main event scene is going to become a lot more reminiscent of how the main event scene was circa maybe this time about a year ago, when you had your AJ Styles and your Dean Ambrose and who else was towards the top of the card at that point? John Cena. Like, that was a really good period of time for the WWE Championship. Like, that was a really good main event scene. And I think now, once SmackDown gets past this Jinder Mahal,
next year
experiment, we're gonna have a main event scene where you have like a Kevin Owens, a Sami Zayn, an AJ Styles, a Shinsuke Nakamura towards the top of the card.
I said this earlier, but if you're a fan of not a fan of NXT, all you know about Shinsuke is that he can beat John Cena.
Yeah.
He can beat Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But he cannot beat Jinder Mahal.
That's insane.
What does that say? Jinder Mahal sucks. So, they're not doing a good job booking unless he wins tonight, which we'll get to shortly.
Right.
I don't think they're doing a very good job booking Nakamura. I don't see Jinder losing. So, Bobby or Dolph?
Bobby Roode. You have to give the win to Bobby Roode here. If they do have any
agree.
interest in building him up to being a player on SmackDown, but it's going to be a slow build with him.
I think, and the rumors are Dolph is leaving after this, so this could be Dolph's last match.
Yeah.
Put over Bobby on his way out.
Yeah. Where do you see Dolph Ziggler ending up? Do you think he just walks away from wrestling entirely, or
if he go to New Japan? That'd be sweet.
I think he would thrive there.
More so than Ring of Honor, or he would go to TNA.
The only thing about, because I don't know, Dolph is such an interesting character because he's got like really good character work and he can actually get into his gimmicks.
And he's a good wrestler.
But he's a fantastic wrestler. So I think he could thrive in an ROH and kind of like a Cody Rhodes-esque, role.
Joining the Bullet Club.
Yeah, that's too much of a cliche.
Maybe
anti. Like, I'm pretty sure
Club. Maybe he'll go against the Bullet Club.
I feel like I'm in the Bullet Club at this point. Like, it's kind of silly.
Believe me, you're not.
But
we wouldn't let you in.
I think because his in-ring acumen, I think Dolph would fit in perfectly in New Japan. Maybe as a member of LIJ.
Never heard of that.
Nah. Anyway.
Is CJ Parker in that group?
No.
Is he in Bullet Club?
LIJ is Los Ingobernables de Japón.
What is that?
It's a heel stable with Naito and Takahashi.
And their name is in Spanish?
Yeah. It started when he went... So little side story here. In New Japan, once a guy gets to a certain point, they'll go on what's called like an excursion where they'll send them to work at other promotions in other countries to kind of get more experience under their belt, and then they'll come back to New Japan, a different character or a different, just more experience.
They do this a lot?
Very frequently, actually. So Naito took his excursion to Mexico, and I believe it was CMLL that he was working for at the time because they had a working relationship between New Japan and CMLL. When he got to CMLL, he linked up with I'm going to probably say it wrong. I think it was like La Sombra, which is actually Cien Almas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Cien Almas had a stable down there called Los Ingobernables. Naito linked up with Almas when he was down there. Basically took the stable, the feeling like the punk rock kind of feel of the stable, took it back to Japan with him as like a mega heel. And got over like Rover. So now he's got like a little group in Japan that's like the Japanese arm of Los Ingobernables. So
interesting.
Him, Evil,
I don't know any
Takahashi. It's fantastic. It's my favorite group in New Japan.
Sweet.
Hands down.
You have their shirt?
I do, actually. Cool. I'll wear it tomorrow.
Wait, I think I've seen it. Actually.
Yeah, I just got it recently.
Yeah,
so.
I saw it.
Yeah, fantastic.
We're both saying booby.
Yeah, we're taking Booby Rude.
Good luck to you, Dolph, if you leave.
Yeah. Best on your future endeavors.
Well, let's talk about the women's championship match.
What would Dolph's name be if you started wrestling on the Indies?
Adolf. No, he'd just go by Nick.
Nick Nemeth.
Whatever his name is. Yeah, Nick Nemeth.
His brother wrestles on the Indies under his actual name, I think.
Maybe there'll be a tag.
Oh, no.
I hope not.
All right.
Ooh, look. We got a new look on the... That's cool.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty fancy. I like it.
Is that the new two-man look?
Yeah.
I like it, Joe.
Perfect.
A little praise for Joe right now, man. Joe is one of the most hardest-working, underrated guys in
all of podcasting history.
Yeah. All right, third match on the card. We have the women's championship match. Champion Natalya defending against Charlotte Flair. And trust me, I've watched enough WWE recently to know that they will not let you forget that Charlotte is the daughter of Ric Flair. She's the only one that has two names. Charlotte Flair. Like, it's
Becky Lynch.
It's branding at its worst.
That's two names.
Yeah, whatever. So I am not at all invested in this feud whatsoever because this just feels like it's a filler for the inevitable cash-in.
You think the cash-in's tonight?
I don't know if it's tonight. It depends on whether or not they want to build this tension between Natalya and Carmella even further. They've been building it for a while, having them in tag matches with each other. Natalya kind of looking over her shoulder at, can I trust this person? So I think, honestly, I'm going to take Natalya on this one.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to continue off this storyline of Natalya and Carmella unable to work with each other because Natalya doesn't know if Carmella's going to cash in on her at any given moment. What do you think?
I like your thinking. I'm not going to go with Natalya winning. I'm going to go with Charlotte. 1 second here. I gotta write it in. Because I think Carmella's going to try to cash it in on Charlotte.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think she'll be able to.
And she'll be so we'll have 2 unsuccessful cash-ins in 1 year.
Why not? Maybe she teases
because
it.
you have like such a good story device there with the Money in the Bank that you don't blow it. You know what I mean? Just save it. Wait for a time where you're built into a corner, and then use it to get out of that corner.
I guess so. Although I see the SmackDown Women's Championship story picture, whatever you want to call it, Charlotte's got to have the belt by WrestleMania because she's going to be facing Ronda Rousey for it, most likely.
God, I wish you were wrong.
At WrestleMania. So she's got to be champion before then.
I don't know if you saw this, but Shayna Baszler has actually officially
signed,
started.
yep,
she's working out of the Performance Center and everything.
So this is a perfect time for her to win it. You know, Natalya's not doing much. Charlotte is the champion. You know, she has a few heel options to go with.
Yeah.
She can feud with Carmella if she wants. But having that briefcase there going into the WrestleMania season, I don't think makes any sense because they want to focus on the 4 horsewoman storyline, I would think.
Yeah. I guess you're right. I don't know,
So
man.
get the briefcase out of the way, you know, or maybe Carmella cashes it in during the match and beats Natalya. So Charlotte.
We get a triple threat, kind of like the
Charlotte,
WrestleMania cash
something like that. Yeah, or that way Charlotte gets screwed. You know, she doesn't get pinned, so she gets a match against Carmella.
Yeah.
Eventually, and that's when she wins it.
Yeah.
I could see that happening too.
That'd be kind of interesting.
But I'm going to go with Charlotte.
Okay.
Just
I like
because
it.
I think that's, you know, there's got to be a title change on this card.
Between the ropes, Natalya is fantastic. But God, she cannot act to save her life. I like her. Like, I want to root for her so badly, but I can't get behind her as a character. There's no depth there whatsoever. Yeah. And it's really hard to get invested in storylines that involve her. Like when she had that feud with Nikki Bella around this time last year.
I just feel like the women don't get enough time to develop their characters really on TV unless you're Charlotte.
I want you to think back to the Natalya-Nikki Bella feud going into pre-Mania when there were the whole, like, you're not married storyline.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
Why? Anyway.
Who knows?
That's
not good.
So going from what, in my opinion, will probably be the low light of the card.
Low light?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, I'm not excited for this match for Natalya Charlotte. To what will probably be one of the 2 main highlights of the card. The New Day versus the Usos.
Are you saying this is the number 2 match then?
1 or 2.
Okay. When we get to number 1, let me know.
We have 2 actual show-stealing matches on this card.
Oh, I know what number 1 is.
Yeah. They're great matches. These are both good.
I think this won't be better than the other one.
From a wrestling perspective, yes. The wrestling that will take place in the ring between the New Day and the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles inside Hell in a Cell will be some of the best wrestling. They will give that match probably a good solid 35 minutes.
No way.
30 minutes roughly, probably in the middle of the card.
Okay.
They're going to give this match a long time.
So you say it's going to be over 30 minutes. I'm going to say it's under 30 minutes.
No, I'm going to say it's
tiebreaker.
It's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of. It's definitely not going to be 15
I'll
minutes.
give you 25 minutes.
Whatever.
Or more, you win.
So I just think that the wrestling that's going to take place between these teams is going to be absolutely bananas. It's going to be insane. These guys, these 5 guys know that between them they can steal this entire show, and they're going to try.
Are they going to get out of the Hell in a Cell, or is it all going to be within the cage?
It's all going to be within the cage.
Okay.
This is match of the year potential right here.
Wow.
But
I think it'll be a good match.
It's going to be a fantastic match.
But
I still, from a storytelling standpoint, I think Shane versus Kevin Owens is going to be the better of the 2 Hell in a Cell matches.
I agree.
So,
thoughts on who is becoming victorious after this match?
It is impossible to predict this one because I feel like both teams are white hot right now, and it's nigh impossible to say who's going to need the belts as momentum going forward, and then what's next for whoever gets the belts after this.
Well, we'll talk about that once we pick a winner. I'm going to go with the New Day.
I was just going to say that.
Sorry. I beat you to it, so I picked them.
What's next for the New Day after this then?
Well, they're going to move on to Bum, bum, bum. I don't know who next, but Authors of Pain are coming up. Probably after Survivor Series, after that War Games match.
Yeah.
I think they'll go into a program with the New Day.
Yeah.
When they come up.
Okay.
So filler. I mean, they could take a month where
maybe
they don't even have a match at the next pay-per-view. Actually, the next pay-per-view is Survivor Series, so they'll build towards a multi-man Survivor Series match
for the tag division.
Sure.
Yeah. And then, so once we get past that, then you think the next contender after that would be AOP coming up after Survivor Series, and
in fact,
which I think would make
it.
That actually makes a lot of sense. You're doing that thing again,
and that will make AOP, seem like legit. And I think they'll beat the New Day and take the belts off of them. That'll
that
solidify them as serious business.
That gives the Usos something to do as well after this.
The Usos could go
because they now have to go into this situation where so we get to Tuesday. Shane McMahon comes out, Dan Bryan comes out and says, wow, we just witnessed one of the greatest tag team matches of all time, but now you guys have to get together because I'm here to formally announce that at Survivor Series we will have a
Usos versus New Day
we'll just have like
Team
Raw versus Team Smackdown for tag team versus tag team division. So you guys have to, now the whole next however many weeks before Survivor Series at SmackDown.
It's U5. Wow.
We'll have to, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But I think you're right.
If you did a 3-man team on Raw with a tag team, you could do a 3-man tag team and a 2-man tag team. So
it's got to be 5-on-5. Well, last year they did.
But I'm saying Usos and New Day is 5.
5 tag teams versus 5 tag teams.
Holy shit. Well,
they did that last year.
I know, but you can't have New Day in that because they have an extra guy.
Oh. Well, then SmackDown will have 4 tag teams.
Plus Big E.
Yeah.
Who counts as a tag team.
So that's 9 people.
And then Ellsworth. No.
And throw in like a 10th person. Throw Ty Dillinger in there for God knows why.
I don't know. We'll see how that
Got to get Dillinger on the Survivor Series card somehow.
Yeah. He's not on this card. Oh, yeah. No, he's not.
No, he's missing, man. MIA.
So we're both going New Day.
Yeah, let's take it. No, it makes a lot of sense. I just feel like this match has the potential to be possible match of the year. It's going to be fantastic. So...
let's talk about the next one.
Moving into the other of the 2 Hell in a Cell matches. There's only 2 proper Hell in a Cell matches on this card. Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens.
Yes.
I think out of all the storylines currently running on SmackDown, this has the potential to be the biggest. Well, this is the biggest storyline they have right now.
Yes.
This is
best booked.
Yeah. It closed out the Go Home show on Tuesday with an absolutely fantastic segment with Shane getting pop-up powerbombed by Kevin Owens in the middle of the ring, putting him through the table.
On the audience?
Was there a table? I'm remembering a table spot. I can't remember though. I watched it at like 3:00 in the morning the other night.
Yeah.
So either way, this feud has been built up absolutely almost to perfection. The promos between one another have been great. There's a real tangible intensity in Kevin Owens that you cannot manufacture. You know how like a couple minutes ago I'm criticizing Natalya for being really bad at acting?
Yeah.
Kevin Owens is, if you give him the opposite. He's the exact opposite. He is probably, in my opinion, the top 3 guys in the entire company, NXT, main roster, SmackDown, Raw.
Yeah.
When it comes to character.
I think so. I mean, I believe that he's like this evil, like
when you and I were talking,
like he's just doing it. I don't know. I believe him. I believe his character, which is nice. He plays a really good bad guy.
He makes a very strong case for kayfabe still being alive and well.
Yeah,
because he is able
he's able to legitimately make you feel a certain way.
Yeah, he gets heat like nobody's business.
I love the way he yells at fans while he's in the ring wrestling people. It's so awesome.
Kevin Owens is a blessing to this industry.
We love you, Kevin Steen. Come on the show.
Yeah. But that being said, I think there's a lot of big things on the horizon for Kevin Owens after this feud wraps up. This feud is nothing more but than to put Kevin Owens in that discussion of top guys in the company.
Yeah.
This is going to only serve to elevate him to that next level. He was kind of twirling around when he got to SmackDown with the whole U.S. title thing. That really didn't work out the way I think it was supposed to.
It led into this, all right. I mean, that was definitely led to this, which I think they did a good job.
Clunky start with the U.S. title to a really good transition right here to this feud.
Well, they had that mess up finish, AJ Owens, where I don't know what went wrong. Who knows how that was supposed to go down, but they were able to spin that to where the next week, AJ pinned him and he had his shoulder up. So then they were able to go into that, and then they had Shane is the special referee. So
Right.
They did a really good job of building up to this storyline, which, like you said, is the most anticipated
this is
storyline on the card.
I feel like this is like a WrestleMania quality match. I know, like last show, what was it, No Mercy? They threw that like line out like a trademarked slogan like left and right.
Right.
But this truly to me does feel like this.
I'm more excited about this than AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. I feel like they didn't do a great job. Like the AJ going back and throwing him through the car window and all that. Like, okay, whatever. I think this feels more organic and believable, and
yes,
and I'm excited.
You and I were talking before we went on air about how I feel Kevin Owens versus the McMahons can be almost like a new version of the Stone Cold Steve Austin Vince McMahon dynamic, but with the roles reversed, where you have the babyface authority figure who's trying to keep a malcontent, just absolute badass heel anti-hero under control. Right. And having a hard time doing it to the point that he has to get in the ring himself to do it. Right. And I love that dynamic. I think if done properly, and this is a good example, I'm engaged. I'm ready to go. Let's go. I'm ready for this match. So.
Do you think either they said, what is it, no holds barred, no DQ, or a false count anywhere or something like that?
Somebody's jumping off that cage.
Who is either jumping off or falling off of
Kevin
that cage?
Owens is going to do a senton off of that cage onto Shane through a table, and that is going to cement Kevin Owens as the biggest badass on the roster.
I think Shane's going to throw Kevin Owens off. Because on SmackDown, Owens said, I'm throwing you off of that cage, which means Shane is throwing Owens off of that cage, I think.
Depends on what they want to do with Kevin Owens. If they want to make him look like cowardly, which is a great character device for Kevin Owens. Cowardly heel, he does that really well when he was like the Universal Champion. Yeah. He does that really well. But I think you have a potential here to make Kevin Owens look like a believable.
But who's he beating? He's beating up a non-wrestler. So
that's fine. But brutality, or simulated brutality, I should say,
against a non-wrestler,
But it will make him look like an absolute monster, which I think is probably, as far as right now goes for Kevin Owens, the best character direction he can go. To look like a remorseless, absolute animal who will sacrifice his own body to murder Shane McMahon by jumping on him through a table off of a, how tall is it, 15-foot cage at this point?
Yeah, something like that.
It's going to make him look like an absolute.
Do you say Owens is winning this?
Owens is winning this.
I agree.
And I think it might just be, I wouldn't be surprised to see like a stoppage here.
Really?
Like Kevin Owens,
that would be interesting,
sentons through the table and just annihilates Shane so badly the ref has to stop the match.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this the main event of Hell in a Cell?
The belt should always go on last.
Okay.
But
I think this should be.
This should be the main event.
I think so.
This is the
people are going to stay to watch Jinder versus Nakamura. I mean, if you're buying tickets to a pay-per-view, you probably are.
No matter where this is at on the card, this is the main event.
But if you're a fan in the seats and you just saw Shane versus Kevin Owens and they stole
that's
the
what we
show,
should do. That's what we should do for points sometime, is actually pick the order of the card.
Well, there's no rhyme or reason to that, really.
I think there is sometimes.
Sometimes, but a lot of times, I don't know.
And I think this match closes the show.
I think it should.
It should.
I think
it may not. It could be a good middle of the card match where
I think it'll be the main event. I take it back. I'm going to say it's the main event.
Last card of the match.
It's a Hell in a Cell match. That's the name of the pay-per-view. The tag match isn't going on last.
Yeah.
Nakamura and Jinder.
So do you think Nakamura Jinder is the semi-main?
Yeah.
So it goes on like right before this match?
They're not going to have a buffer. Why put a buffer between? Because people aren't going to get that hype for Jinder. Well,
especially
if
Jinder's going to retain, then especially then, because that crowd is going to be really bummed about that.
And then Shane's music is going to hit. They're going to go,
and then
Shane!
That match is going to, I think they have if they put this match on last, they have the potential of doing something really, really cool and ending the show in a really, really cool way. So we'll see.
I think it's last.
We have 2 matches left to talk about. We have what I think will be a sleeper pick for one of the best matches of the night, because there's not a lot of hype surrounding this right now.
Wow.
AJ Styles, who could have a fantastic match with an inanimate object, and an inanimate object in Baron Corbin. So
Perfect.
Yeah, you like that? He's like the human equivalent of like a broom. It's,
I'll make sure I let him know that you said that.
And if you talk to him, tell him I said.
Heel Travis Heel.
What are you gonna
Heel.
do?
You just hate all the bad guys, don't you?
I'm telling you, man. He's just, I don't know, man. He's kind of lost a little bit of steam with me recently. Like, we'll see.
Okay, so.
But
How do you think this match is getting booked? Do you think Ty Dillinger's going to show up? He's been part of the storyline intertwined the last 3 weeks.
you did mention something about there being a potential for being like a triple threat, which I think would be really interesting. It'd be a good way to kind of get AJ out of the U.S. title
Which
picture.
they need to do soon, eventually.
Yeah, because they have bigger plans for him come Mania.
Hopefully.
You need to get AJ out of that U.S. title picture.
He's helped the belt immensely.
Yes, it's a true to life second tier title now on SmackDown. I'm probably
It's higher than the WWE title right now as far as prestige.
I have never been more invested in the secondary titles for each brand.
I never thought I would
now.
like the U.S. belt as much as I like it right now.
The US
I've
belt-
always hated the U.S. title.
AJ and Kevin Owens to a degree as well has been done wonders for that title. But I do think it is time to pass the torch down to a Baron Corbin and a Ty Dillinger. Now, whether that means they add Ty Dillinger into the match,
Yeah.
and they make it a triple threat, and he pins Baron Corbin to basically get AJ out of the equation entirely,
Right. We talked
or
about that, yeah.
Baron Corbin gets the upset win tonight
Over AJ.
and then goes into a program with Ty Dillinger after this.
And what we see a rematch AJ Baron on SmackDown and Baron retains, or
I don't know, man.
he's going to get a rematch.
Yeah.
So you got to bet that somewhere. I think this is the most likely rematch we'll see out of any of the matches on the card to happen on SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen on SmackDown, and then whatever, Corbin retains via DQ, or this that other thing. Basically, just kind of like end the storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an abrupt way to end it, but I don't know if the AJ Baron Corbin storyline really needs anything more than an abrupt ending. Because it's not like anybody's truly invested in an AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin feud anyway.
Right.
But, so end it. Let's get this over with. Let's get the belt onto Baron Corbin and then get him ready for the next thing, which will be a pretty decent program with Ty Dillinger.
Hopefully.
With Ty being the underdog.
Which would be good.
Losing.
And losing, of course.
Inevitably.
And maybe then Sammy will come up and lose. And then, I don't know.
It's hard to be a
then
Sami
who can
Zayn
lose
fan.
next?
Yeah.
Then who will lose?
Right.
And then maybe Bobby Roode will get into the...
Basically, Baron Corbin's going to hold on to the belt for...
Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode. I think Bobby Roode could take the belt off of
That
Baron
would be
Corbin.
a good one. That
So
would
you
be a
have
really
him
good
beat
one.
Dillinger, have him beat Zayn, and then Bobby Roode steps up.
And then he's the one to do it. A
And he
Canadian
A Canuck.
wins the U.S. title. Unbelievable. What next? An Indian man holding the world title?
Let's hope not. He's Canadian, actually.
He is also Canadian, actually.
Shoot. Canadians are
Damn. Man, well,
Natalia's Canadian. Damn it.
wow.
How many Canadians we got?
There's a lot of Canadians. There's at least
Dolph's from Cleveland. Charlotte's from Charlotte. New Day, they're not Canadian. Usos aren't Canadian. Shane and Owens are.
half of these matches.
Owens is Canadian.
Half of these matches, he's excruciatingly Canadian. Half of these matches, I feel like, have at least one Canadian in them.
That's perfect.
That's crazy. Or either Zack
probably more
Ryder
than-
or
Probably not.
how many? Was it one Canadian, two Canadians,
3 Canadians.
three Canadians, 4 Canadians on this card. Kevin Owens, Jinder Mahal, Natalia, and Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Crazy. Taking over, man. I, for one,
How many
welcome
Indians?
our new Canadian overlords. Let the maple syrup flow.
So I have a feeling you're going with Baron Corbin.
I'm going with Baron Corbin, man. I think not because it's a demotion to AJ. I just think they have bigger designs for AJ going into the hot season here, which is going to be this Survivor Series followed by the Royal Rumble followed by WrestleMania. Like between Survivor Series and WrestleMania is the hottest time of year for WWE for storytelling wise. And I think they want to gear up AJ Styles to be a prime player in what they're going to be doing going forward.
I feel bad doing that. We have all the same picks except for the women's title match.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin, I think, is going to win the match tonight.
And take the title.
I think so. I mean, I think
Unless-
AJ is the best wrestler in WWE, hands down.
Yeah.
No one comes close. But, he's ready to move on, and this will make Baron look like $1 million. Pinning him clean in the middle of the ring would be awesome. I think that's what needs to happen. And AJ's willing to put guys over.
And that's the thing about like being the top guy on the card is not even necessarily being the best wrestler on the card. Being the top guy on the card is also knowing when, for a story's sake, to help the younger guys up. So AJ being the top guy on the card takes the U.S. title, makes it prestigious. And then now he's in a position where he can set up people like Baron Corbin and Ty Dillinger and Chad Gable and, these undercard guys who are now going to be feuding over the U.S. title. He can set them up for success while he's enabled to go on to other things as well. And I think like there's very few guys that can do it that way. John Cena is a really good example of somebody who can come into a storyline just to elevate everybody around him and make everybody a much bigger deal and then move on to something else afterwards. He's a really good tool in that way. Like you can use him for a storytelling perspective to do
he's okay with doing
Taker
that.
was another good one. Like I think that's an unspoken quality that people really don't admire, is the ability to, even if you're not putting somebody over, so to speak, in the ring, but to use your abilities to raise everybody in a storytelling perspective.
Yeah. AJ's great.
Sorry, that was me going on a tangent about storytelling and wrestling, which I think some people forget sometimes. Wrestling is just storytelling.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a way to tell a story out.
Yeah, it's a fantastic storytelling method. I love it. It's my favorite.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Let's move on to our final match of the evening.
The main event of the evening. Your semi-main, according to Heel Corey.
This will not be the main event. This will be opening the card. That'll be perfect.
They did it before. Remember last year? Was it
because
No Mercy? They opened the card.
Some other event was happening. They were competing against what, a football game or something? Or...
I can't remember. It was No Mercy, I think it was last year. They had
they opened up with the word, and they even said like, "Well, we're competing up against that." So
yeah,
crazy.
So Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal. Shinsuke Nakamura, as much as I love him for all of his talent and everything that he's done in his career with New Japan and in his career now with WWE and NXT booking and storytelling is so much different than WWE main roster storytelling. In NXT, you didn't really need too much in the way of like character for Shinsuke because he was going off of his reputation alone.
Right.
And that fits.
And the fans in NXT know who he is.
Yeah, and that fits because like your fans in NXT respect the New Japan product and they respect their method of storytelling, which is not very quote unquote story driven. It's more combat driven than it is like character driven, so to speak. So I think one of the things we're noticing here with Shinsuke is that he's having a hard time really translating that character to the main roster. And as much as I love Shinsuke for his in-ring acumen, I truly don't know if he's connecting to the SmackDown crowd.
I don't think he is. Yeah, and that's not all his fault. His booking, allowing him to talk as much as he has.
He should be booked like
give him a manager, or he can be a mystery type of guy. He doesn't need to talk.
Yeah,
to book him properly. He's a great wrestler. He can show his skills in the ring, and they haven't really. I mentioned it earlier. He beat Cena. He beat Orton, but he can't beat Jinder. So like, what does that say? Jinder is not. No offense to Jinder, because he looks great. He's not like that skilled. His matches aren't usually too over the top amazing.
Sorry, we have a brief football Suplex Live update. The Philadelphia Eagles are trampling over the Arizona Cardinals 21-0 at the half.
Wow.
Not at the half.
Michigan lost last night.
Bro.
I watched the beginning and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like getting mad at the TV. I'm just gonna turn it off. I'm not gonna worry about it.
My roommate was in a very dark place last night.
It sucks.
Oh, man. My God. To lose at home to one of your rivals with a coach with as much momentum as Harbaugh has right now, insane. I'm surprised. Joe, you're a Michigan fan, right?
Yeah.
Have any of your Michigan fan friends on like Facebook or anything like that been like pitchforks out calling for Harbaugh's head?
Not really.
I've seen a lot of people
it's mainly been like complaints about the quarterback.
See, what quarterback?
Yeah,
exactly.
See, I haven't really seen the thing about. No offense to any fans out there. Michigan fans aren't as vocal, especially after a loss. We're not going to talk shit about nothing.
I've seen more.
Whereas Ohio State fans are very defensive of why, and
I've seen a lot more Ohio State fans talking negatively about Michigan losing than I have Michigan about Ohio Michigan fans. Yeah, or about anything else.
Well, Ohio State lost already this year. They lost their first or second game of the year?
Yeah.
To Indiana?
Yeah.
An unranked team?
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan State was unranked too, but
I do think it's huge for Michigan State, though.
yeah, they're always a good team.
Yeah.
They're not a bad team. And they're able to beat these. I mean, they've beaten Ohio State in the last couple of years, I believe.
I believe so.
So, I mean, they have these big wins over these huge monster teams.
And that weather last night, I think that played a huge factor in it.
Also true. Yeah, I was getting on like the Michigan
about
football subreddit last night, and it was a hot mess. People are in sell now mode, man. People are like hitting the panic button.
Ugh. Yeah, they did not look good.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Now move on to more important things.
Moving from Ann Arbor to Detroit, home of Hell in a Cell 2017.
Do you know anyone going?
I'm sure I probably do. We were talking about going ourselves, but honestly, I don't think things are lining up properly for that to happen.
Yeah, what are you doing tonight? I got to work.
Yeah. So we're gonna go. I don't know, man.
Jinder's keeping that belt till Marvel.
Jinder's retaining, and it's only because Shinsuke Nakamura, as much as I like him, he is not built up to the point where I think he's a credible threat to
You're not
Jinder's.
fixing your problem. Your problem with Jinder is the fans aren't necessarily connecting with him. That he's had those racist comments, whatever you believe.
They're not going to connect to Nakamura any easier than they
exactly.
are
That's not the guy you want to switch the belt to try to fix that problem, because Nakamura is going to give you just as many problems connecting with the fans as Jinder.
Your next person who holds.
The cool thing about Jinder is people hate Jinder. Not everybody hates him, but you have that at least. You have the heat of the fans, like,
Exactly.
oh, we don't like Jinder.
Exactly.
Nakamura, you may not like him, but nobody hates him. Some people love him.
The worst thing
you're not
you
getting
can-
any heat from that.
The worst thing you can have at the top of your card is indifference.
Right.
If you have a champion holding the most prestigious title in your company, who people are, you don't hate them, but you're not really stoked on. Yeah, he's got a cool entrance.
You don't.
Stuff
You're
like
not
that.
here or there on the person. That's not good.
Yeah.
You want to either love him or hate him, so you have passion behind how you feel about that character.
Yeah, and you got to remember, this is the main roster. This
Right.
isn't NXT where you can get by on, wow, he was a huge name in New Japan, or
Right.
he kicks really well. Like your NXT crowd is going to eat that shit up. Your main roster crowd, who is like the families who come
Way
out
more
with their
casual.
kids, much more casual fans, they're not going to buy Nakamura as champion just because, like, they won't boo him, but they won't, with cash out with great fervor, buy his T-shirts and stuff like that.
Right. I have a Nakamura T-shirt.
Your next WWE champion is going to be somebody that can get people invested in SmackDown again, and it's going to either be somebody like a Kevin Owens,
Right.
an AJ Styles, or a John Cena. Like, one of those three people, I think, is going to be the next WWE champion.
He's going to break the record.
Oh, hands down. Records were made to be broken, man.
And then he'll probably retire after WrestleMania. And by retire, I mean step away for a while again, and maybe he'll be gone for a year.
You're going to see a transition with John Cena in the next 2 to 3 years, where he starts to transition into that, literally the role of The Rock.
Yeah.
Where he's the big name they bring back every once in a while for WrestleMania to do the big promo and stuff like that to get people hype. He's their most recognizable face that they've had for the last 10 years.
Exactly.
So, and he's getting ready to hang up the boots full time and go straight part time. And honestly, he deserves every last minute of his success.
He's 40. He's
Yeah.
in his 40s.
Dude, if you would have told us how many years ago that we would have gone full circle on John Cena, to the point now that we look at him with respect and adulation, and just
he's done a lot of great things for the wrestling company.
he has done
business.
a lot of fantastic things for pro wrestling.
And he's he's passionate. He's working those house shows for Raw and SmackDown.
And he's
going to
genuinely-
Japan and Australia, and he's doing Raw and he's doing SmackDown.
He's a genuinely good dude.
Yeah.
So I can't think of it unkind.
World record Make-A-Wish Foundation wishes granted by a lot.
If he gets 17 world titles, I will not be upset about it.
I don't think so.
That's
Rick can always say he won more than 17, because there's a lot of belts that the WWE doesn't recognize as
World
part of
titles.
his reigns,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he has way more than 16 title reigns.
And John Cena is the kind of guy you want as the guy, because as much as I like John Cena, and I'm not trying to damn him in any capacity here, WWE doesn't really have a large roster of reliable figures that fit into their corporate structure now. You can wheel out your Ric Flairs and your Stone Colds
Right.
and your Hulk Hogan's at your WrestleManias and stuff like that, but each one of those guys comes with a very, very, very heavy dose of, they're really good wrestlers and classic wrestlers, but Ric Flair is a problemed, drinker and stuff like that.
I was just going to say
and
something
then
like that.
Stone Cold Steve Austin has a history of domestic violence.
Correct. Hogan with his
racist remarks and
yeah.
stuff like that. John Cena, as much as I never want anything to come out about him bad.
Right.
Because it would be devastating. Because he is truly the
WWE
guy.
finally has a guy that they can call back on, like, oh, remember the heyday of John Cena?
Yeah.
And it's not like, don't remember this part.
Right.
Just
He's got a
remember
couple
this.
of with the word life gimmick when he first started out. That was a little rough. A couple of homophobic promos and stuff like that. But you got to remember, that's not the man. That was the character.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely not that same guy anymore.
The man outside of the character in WWE is probably one of the most upstanding people. And I'm going to hopefully never regret saying these words. Like, I no pressure on John Cena, but...
You better live up to our expectations.
He's Superman for a reason, dude.
Yeah.
But he's not in this match. We spent way too much commiserating.
That's all right. So we both agreed Jinder's walking away with the belt.
Jinder walks away.
We both agreed on every single match of the card except for Natalya.
Yeah, I said Natty retains, and I'm not even feeling 100%.
Well, that's going to be the decider.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say AJ's going to retain now that
I don't know about you, but I'm ready just to be sports entertained tonight.
A lot of these matches I'm excited to see. I really want to see the Breezango thing.
Yeah. Please
be something worthwhile, like these last couple things where WWE is teased like a mystery.
I do really.
They've all been shit. Like,
I want
literally
something.
All of them.
I want something with them that I can sink my teeth into and actually get
give them
invested.
Something to work into. Give them a program. Give them airtime. Work whatever team it is. Work together to get to the title picture, so we have more guys. So we're not seeing Usos New Day every week.
Right. We need more tag teams on SmackDown.
They're splitting up the hype bros.
Vince doesn't like tag teams. I'm starting to think.
I think I've heard that. I heard he's not a fan of the tag team, whereas Triple H is definitely all about tag teams. He knows that you're able to complement each other. That's why NXT they're so great at kind of building these tag teams.
Yeah. And that's why I think NXT is such a brilliant thing, because you have now a brand that appeals to people who like a certain style of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you think that there's rumors possibly of NXT going to 2 hours because of the women's tag division that they're talking about bringing in?
I could genuinely see it, because now you factor in
all those women they just signed.
They've basically shelved. NXT is not a developmental brand anymore.
Oh, no.
Especially
if it goes to 2 hours.
I mean, yes, they have the Performance Center, which is, I think, their true developmental brand, because they are getting truly good talent out of the Performance Center.
Yeah.
But I think NXT now is that third brand, and it's been this way for a while, but I think it's truly cemented now as that third brand where you can appeal to a wrestling fan that likes a different style of storytelling.
Right, which is what they wanted to do with Raw and SmackDown, have a different feel.
Yeah.
SmackDown's
but now they're basically
wrestlers, but they don't do that anymore.
It's the same show.
It never happened, yeah.
But it's got to be that way. You have to have both, because in order for WWE to make the money to fund, NXT and the network and stuff like that, you have to have a show on Raw and SmackDown that can appeal to casual audiences, that will get families out to come to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown to buy tickets and buy food and buy t-shirts and this, that, and the other thing. Right. But that money gets funneled back into NXT, where you get to really experiment and try cool new things and occasionally get a really cool main roster character out of that. Now, I don't think that they need to pull people up to the main roster as quickly as they are. You can viably stay
in NXT for a year, 2 years, 3 years.
You can viably stay in NXT for the entirety of your career at this point, and I think it wouldn't be a damning thing, because it is a viable third brand.
See, I think if you think back to when WWE had Monday Night Raw and WCW had Monday Nitro, the reason why there was such a good rivalry there, and you had your fans, is they were different shows. They were run differently.
Oh, absolutely.
It was different products. So if you're a fan of one thing, you watch this. If you're a fan of the other thing, you watch the other thing. Whereas Raw and SmackDown, pretty much the same show.
Very, very homogenized.
I'm not a fan of watching 5 hours of wrestling.
Yeah.
In 2 days.
Well, and especially with the main roster, there's so many things I think take you out of the story a little bit. Like, I was watching SmackDown the other night getting prepared for this show.
Yeah.
And there was a whole bit where they did, and I'm tired of them doing this because it just makes me realize that I'm watching a product. They did this bit where they point the camera at the announce desk, and Tom Phillips and Corey Graves and who else is on SmackDown right now? Is it Byron Saxton?
Yeah.
Are sitting there selling me on the WWE Network. You're like, if you order now, you get this, that, and the other thing, and you get also TLC for free and this, that, and the other. It took me out of the storytelling so much that it was jarring. And on NXT, like, they still do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the way it's handled isn't as jarring, and it doesn't pull you out of the story as much.
The thing about that is you already have the network if you're watching NXT.
This is true.
So they don't need to sell you on the network. You're watching. The reason that you're there is because you have it.
Now we're getting into a deeper conversation of pro wrestling and consumerism and how they tie into one another.
Well, I have a business degree. Let me tell you about how to run a television show. I don't have a business degree.
NXT is great, and I will say this, going back to the War Games thing, let's wrap this up. Jinder Mahal's winning.
Yes.
So going back to the War Games thing, I think NXT is cool for me because it's taking the best parts of WCW and reincorporating them into it's. If you're taking all the good stuff from WCW and redoing it in a way that I feel like is fun and makes a lot of sense storytelling wise, you get what NXT is doing.
Right.
So I love it. I love the fact that they have a tangible tag team division.
Yeah. We should do an NXT show.
We really should. It's infinitely more entertaining, at least in my opinion. I like the main roster and I like what they're doing on a lot of storylines, but there's some misses too, man.
I mean, we could focus the show on indie wrestling and NXT, which is,
kind of hand in hand.
Not indie wrestling, but
yeah.
I don't know. If you guys would like to see an NXT show, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll definitely
I would love to do an NXT
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. It'd be a lot easier.
Not a lot of people do NXT shows or reviews or anything, so we'd have a lot to talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll end up doing that. So
yeah, maybe
just
refocus ASL to like a NXT-esque
and
an indie
Impact.
wrestling. Yeah.
Impact Wrestling.
That could be cool.
Get Dave Crystal on the show.
I actually watched Impact Wrestling.
I've been watching it like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. I've been watching
one of our local guys here, one of our friends, Trey Miguel, made an appearance this week on TNA or Impact Wrestling. I should say
Impact Wrestling.
Yes.
Not even Global Force anymore.
Yeah, not even. God, I pray for their success.
They're doing. If you watch, okay, so I meant to talk about this. I hate that we're doing it at the very end of the show. So I've been watching Global Force or Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to say, the last couple weeks, and they do a lot. I feel like they do a better job than WWE with some of their storytelling, some of the way they're building their matches. And every week it's different guys wrestling. You don't necessarily see the same guy every week. So I don't know. It just flows a lot nicer. I don't really feel bored. I really am intrigued with all of the different storylines going on with that.
Yeah,
it's a good product. Check it out. Seriously, it's not bad.
I'll be the first person to say that I don't think the WWE main roster needs to go back to the edgy style of storytelling that you used to have during the Attitude Era. I'm not an Attitude Era apologist. Like, actually, there's a lot of things about the Attitude Era that I don't like.
Right.
Like, I was watching a women's championship match that was in a pool evening gown match. Like,
Yeah,
there's a
those
lot
are
of
stupid.
There's a lot of stuff about the Attitude Era that I don't miss, and that good freaking riddance. Like,
Yeah.
we don't need it. But I do think the WWE needs some sort of competition to make the main roster more compelling storytelling.
Yeah.
You're getting to this point now where it's a very homogenized product, and it's very, to a lot of people, to a lot of hardcore fans like us, it's really turning a lot of people off. Like, if I miss Raw or SmackDown in a week, I'm not devastated.
I don't care. Yeah.
I'll catch NXT because I like what they're doing storytelling wise there. But if I miss Raw or SmackDown, I'm really not bummed.
Right.
So
I agree.
But that's another topic for another show.
Yeah, we should do that.
We should do. We have a lot of really good show ideas. We should do them all.
Well, I think that concludes our show today.
I think we're way overdue for a roundtable.
We should definitely do a roundtable.
Let's plan that out. We're going to plan out the next couple of weeks' episodes here.
If you watch this whole thing and you have a suggestion of who you'd like to be on the roundtable, let us know. We'll ask the crew.
Yeah.
Or subject.
Next week, we will try our hardest, but the plan as of right now is to have Corey and I watch the horror classic See No Evil, starring Glenn Jacobs, soon-to-be mayor of Knox County,
Did
Tennessee.
he get voted in?
I don't know.
Oh.
So.
Hopefully soon to be mayor.
Hopefully soon to be mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Are there any other wrestlers in that movie? Because I know WWE will sneak like a few.
I don't think so. I watched it right when Kane is my all-time favorite wrestler. So when it came out, I watched it. I don't own it, which I actually, now that I think about it, that surprises me.
You and I should get together sometime this week and just sit down and watch it, and then we'll just take notes or whatever, and then come back to the studio and record our thoughts on it. So,
I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
let's do it.
So we'll do that. Obviously, and plus we want to do a horror movie because we're getting into Halloween here.
Absolutely.
It is October, so we're getting into the festivities a little bit here. You can plan on another pay-per-view preview special coming up here. Another 2 weeks because we have TLC.
Yep,
they're just cranking them out, man.
I may not be here for that one. Who knows?
Yeah. So maybe you'll see me on the TLC pre-show with a cavalcade of our regulars. Maybe we'll see if we can get Matt or Ajax or somebody else into the show, and then we'll probably pepper in another roundtable here pretty soon, man. Good before
Let's shoot for one in November.
Yeah, before Survivor Series, get us ready going into that. So
I like it.
Yeah. So you guys can catch us Monday night. We have Monday Night Raw. Once again, it's becoming a weekly thing now. So
officially, it is weekly. As far as people keep showing up, we'll keep doing it. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah. So as long as you guys keep coming out to Monday Night Raw and watching Raw with us at the Beer Stube, if you're in the
blast.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Shot this week. It's official.
Yeah. Do we nail down what exactly is in that yet? Or are we still working on
no, it's nailed down. It's Loopy, which is Fruit Loop flavored vodka, chocolate vodka, and Kahlua is how you make it. We shouldn't have told them that. You got to come out and taste it for yourself. It's chocolate Fruit Loops. It's Bootios flavored. So come on out.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so we got that coming up on Monday. So if you guys are in the greater Toledo area and you want to come hang out with me and Corey, watch Monday Night Raw and drink a little bit, make some jokes, have a good time. Really good food as well. You can get free bacon on any food order that you order. But anyway,
I'm trying to work on a new food special, so hopefully we'll have something different.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, I cook in that kitchen.
Damn.
That's my
You're
one
a
of my
regular
jobs.
Renaissance man, dude.
I do it all, but I'm looking at getting something special for Monday night. So another reason to come out.
Then we also have October 14th, Northwest Ohio Wrestling, our great friends in NOW. We've got Uprising, not Uprising, I'm sorry, Glass City Havoc.
Yes.
So you said
anniversary show.
Yeah, their anniversary show. It's going to be a huge show. Pretty sure all the titles are on the line that night. We got a triple threat for the Cruiserweight title.
Is the women's title on the line?
I don't believe so. We got a triple threat for the Cruiserweight. The tag team titles will be defended in a ladder match against between IndyCard Mafia, who we've had both members of the show on, or onto the show, Aces, and then Natural Aces. The NOW title will be on the line. The Uprising title will be on the line. Literally, all the belts are on the line that night. So
we'll be there.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane. So make sure you guys are there. Make sure you guys come say hi to us at the show or whatever if you're listening to this.
I think you can buy tickets in advance too.
Yes, yeah. You guys can hit up Northwest Ohio Wrestling at 419 Wrestling on Facebook and Twitter, and more information about tickets and everything will be available on there. So
I think without further ado,
that's my line. I think that about wraps us up this week now that we have gone on many, many tangents, and hopefully you guys are ready to watch some Hell in a Cell tonight and be sports entertained.
Hopefully I'll be able I'm going to miss the beginning of it because I will be at work still.
I'll live text you everything's happening.
I'm going to try to play at work if we're not busy.
Good luck. So until next week, we will see you guys very soon. Have a good week.
Hey, this is Joe, producer of Audio Suplex Live. We'd like to give a shout out to the band Wax for intro and outro music. Make sure you check them out at the link below.
You've been listening to the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.